All right, back with General Manager Chris Albright as we look at FC Cincinnati and the big move announced this week. Brenner is moving on to Udinese, a record transfer for FC Cincinnati. Why was this transfer in this moment right after months of calls on Brenner for all parties?
I think first and foremost it met our valuation of the player. You know, it was important that we reached an amount of money that we felt was commensurate with his performance and what he means to us. You know, I will say that, you know, I think if you look back at the history of when the club acquired Brenner, they were desperate to score goals. Right. And they went out and got a prospect that showed up and did score goals for FC Cincinnati, and that's important. Did we as a club overpay at the time? Yes. I also think that's important to note. And so I think we were always kind of chasing a ghost a bit in trying to recoup $13 million. And so we feel really comfortable with the number we landed on. I'm really pleased with that number. You know, the other part of this is the player wanted to go. Right. And, you know, unlike our other major league sports in the United States, the players have a big say in where they want to go. You can't just trade a player, you know, somewhere. The players' desires, we have a lot of players that desire to play in Europe. That's still the reality that we're dealing with in MLS, and MLS continues to rise globally every year. But when you couple the fact that we were really happy with the $10 million and the fact that Brenner his ambitions were to go play for a club like Udinese, those things just married up and made it the right timing.
For the club, this is a franchise record as far as a transfer fee is considered. And look, there haven't been many outgoing transfers like this, but across Major League Soccer there have been, and yet this is still one of the biggest outgoing transfers ever. What does that mean for the club to be in the market like that?
It helps in recruitment, frankly.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the story we're telling is not only come here and help FC Cincinnati win something, which is still our main focus as a club, but you know, we're going to develop you to be able to sell you on to kind of where you want to reach your ambitions. And so it helps us then go get the next prospect, the next Marco Angulo or Alvaro Barreal, or a player coming over from Europe that perhaps wants to then return back to Europe. So I think it's a really powerful indicator that we've entered the development sell-on space. You obviously always have to balance that with maximizing those players while they're here, because again, our fan base wants to win. We want to win. We understand that. But this is the sort of price of being a global player in the transfer market.
Well, with this news, a seller in a big way, but the club will continue to be a buyer, right? And bringing guys in. What does the timeline look like for possible reinforcements for this team?
Well, the scouting process is constant.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at examples of guys on the field, I think we were chasing Obi for 8 months. We looked at Marco Angulo for over a year. And so the scouting process is constant. So we were looking at reinforcements for attacking positions a year ago, knowing that we have players that are coveted. So we feel pretty comfortable in some of the conversations we're having with players, and are hopeful that you know, we have some sort of momentum and maybe some news we can share relatively soon, and reinforcements that could come in this summer and help us continue to compete at the level we're doing now.
Well, you're a year and a half into your tenure with FC Cincinnati. You've brought in players who have been a part of the success of this resurrection for the club. How pleased have you been with how well all these different new pieces have fit this year?
Well, that's the game, right? I know I talked a lot about when we took the job about sort of amassing talent and assembling a team. And that's really the nuance. And I think we've been really happy with the pieces we've been able to add. They've really supplemented the talented pieces we've had. You know, if you look at Obi and Matt and Roman, obviously maybe some of the most notable, being able to add guys like Santi and Yersin this year. And really happy with, I think, mostly this year is the base that we're creating, the depth that we're creating. When you look at Malik and Marco and Ian and Joey and guys that are really helping us raise the level in training every day to kind of really build an MLS group. I think that's what we've been really most pleased with, and what we needed to address coming into this year.
Well, it's been a remarkable start so far in 2023. What's been the biggest key to success in picking up where the team left off last year?
I think just having a much different starting point, right? We were in some ways reinventing the wheel 16 months ago, right? Trying to institute a new system, style of play, methodology, you know, how we scout, how we recruit, how we sort of treat each other and walk around the building. And so if you look at the playoff win in New York and then obviously a disappointment in Philly, that was a kind of our floor. And so to be able to bring a lot of the same group back, have that continuity, have the players understand what Pat and the coaching staff really require every day from a professional level, that's allowed us to continue to sort of get off to this start that I think has everybody excited.
Well, the ceiling seems to be growing, and the expectations higher and higher every day. This move certainly a piece of the puzzle. Congratulations. Appreciate the time, always.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right, that is Chris Albright. I'm Tom Gallagher.